Hey, good morning again, guys. Hey, it's Troy coming at you with another version of the Virtual Crossings. Today, what I wanted to discuss was some of the extraordinarily generous things that some of our wonderful alumni have done for us. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of kind of what was going on and some of the things that they've done. Today, I want to highlight Rich Swanson. He was a graduate back in the early 60s, 62 to be precise. Chemical engineering major. We could get into all, kind of awards and accolades that Rich had done. But I wanted to bring it attention. He was a chemical engineer, but he rose to prominence throughout the chemical industry, heading a couple companies, and did extraordinarily well. Married his wife, Ruth, and they were extremely generous in a lot of things that they did. So one of the caveats about Rich and Ruth is that they were extraordinarily charitable and charity-minded and did a lot of really good things for a lot of different good organizations. But one that obviously is very near and dear to our hearts is that they gave back extraordinarily generously to both AIBA and to AIEF. And when I say generously, I mean, guys, almost $1 million. It was an extremely big gift, and I was lucky enough to be involved with the AIEF at that time. And we thought we needed to do something to kind of mark the occasion and to make sure that that lives on in legacy to some extent. So what we did was obviously a good portion of it went to help offset and defray the cost of the new house, but a portion of it within the EF side is living on through the means of developing a scholarship in actually Rich and Ruth's name. So we have the Swanson Scholarship that we've given out twice now. We're actually in the midst of giving it out for the second time. But guys, this is a $5,000 scholarship that we aim to give out to an incoming freshman every year that's coming into Missouri S&T. And I wanted to talk about that for a moment. So what the aim was, obviously a lot of this stuff came about at the time of COVID, and it was designed to be used as kind of a rush tool. Hey, we've got to figure out some way to get new applicants in. But at the same time, how can we use this to increase the level of gentlemen who are wanting to rush our fraternity and really bring up the level of who would be applying? So instead of, hey, can you simply fog a mirror and come in and join and fill a spot in the house? It's how do we develop this so that it is the best fraternity on campus? And I say that in all seriousness because I feel like that's where we are headed. A, with the new house, and B, with the level of giving back and scholarships that we're doing. It's going to change a lot of things, and it's not obviously overnight for how that goes, but it will change the course of where we're headed, and we're certainly going to see results. In fact, I think that with the level of applicant, or as we call them now, a potential new member, that's rushy to us who graduated a ways back, but potential new members. So come down and talk to these guys when you come down to homecoming, and I think that you're going to be amazed at kind of the level of gentlemen that is coming in. In A, their character, B, their leadership potential, and kind of what they've brought in of things that they've done in high school that just kind of knock your socks off. I've been really happy with kind of where we're doing it, and we get to review the applications of these incoming freshmen every year. And it's been really, really good. And we look to continue that. What I wanted to bring up, so there's a caveat. It doesn't have to go to simply somebody who's rushing our house, but it certainly makes our house much more attractive to kind of those alphas that were out there that typically might look at different houses. It makes us just bring up our quality even more than what it's already been. So this brings me to the other side of it. And if you are charitably minded, guys, always make sure that you consider Sigma Pi Alpha Iota in your estate plans. And there's plenty of guys to reach out to that know more about the details of what this can look like. But this simply helps us to make sure that we've got a lasting legacy that will outlive us, outlive, our kids, probably our grandkids. And in addition, it helps to make sure that the next level, so in other words, if we come back to homecoming here in another 30 years, the quality of the young man that's graduating from our fraternity and our beloved school is going to be extraordinarily high. So in other words, every time that we have a CEO, a president, somebody who's owned a business, somebody who's done extraordinarily well in life, in addition to giving back from a monetary side, we also want you to consider giving back from a mentorship side, from somebody to have a discussion of been there, done that. So, one of the big sayings in my industry is history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme quite a bit. And I think that a lot of the lessons that our amazing alumnus have had can translate into some way, shape, or form into guys who are in the fraternity right now. Because, the technology might be light years ahead of where it was in the 60s, although if we're still doing control theory and trying to get rockets to the moon from technology that we learned in the 60s when I was a mechanical engineer, I don't know, maybe it hasn't changed a whole lot. But if we're going with guts, determination, bootstrapping it, making sure that you get to work on time. Some of the old school stuff that will always be applicable no matter what. And from people that I talk to all the time, that is much more important on a daily basis, I think, than probably just about anything else. We'd love you to give back your time, treasure, and your talents to a lot of these guys who are in the house right now who could probably use a little bit of a pep talk from time to time, right? No, we're not going to bash them down, but make sure that, they've got somebody who out there who's been there, done that, walked a mile in their shoes and is able to kind of talk about the strengths and the weaknesses. Because with a lot of the social media and everything else that we've got out there these days, everything looks like sunshine and roses all the time. And obviously we know from a lifetime of experience of getting kicked in the teeth, getting back up on the horse and riding off into the sunset for one more day. We know that it's not an easy task. And I think that some of these guys need to know that. So again, I'd urge you, come down to homecoming and hear their stories and be prepared to share a part of yours of some of the challenges that you've overcome. Here's my challenge for all of you guys out there who are coming down to homecoming. And I hope it's a boatload of you, okay? Come up with a story of some time that you faced some huge adversity, right? And I know you got them. So that should be an easy one. Maybe it's going to be the hard part of paring it down to a manageable list, right? But come up with a story of some time that absolutely was crushing to you. And obviously you've made it through and you've made it past that because, damn it, we persevere. But come up with that story so that you can share it to some of the guys down there. And I think that they'll appreciate hearing that, knowing that, it's not the greatest story all the time, but, it's more of it's a marathon, not a sprint, I think is to use one of the phrases from my time. That pertain to different topics and different things, usually going out at night or St. Pat's week, but I think it's applicable here again. Back to Rich and Ruth Swanson. Guys, again, if you knew them, do me a favor. Come up with, if you knew Rich, if you knew Ruth, come up with your best Rich or Ruth story, because I would love for their legacy to live on. I think it's so extraordinarily important for somebody who's been extremely generous like this. And honestly, guys, we never even ask. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and we were frankly kind of flabbergasted and pleasantly surprised. But nobody from AI had ever reached out, to the best of my knowledge, and from the stories that I've heard, ever reached out to ask them for this kind of a gift, and extremely generously given. But what we want to do is kind of change the tide. So, let's take Rich and Ruth's extreme generosity and let's use that to propel us to the next phases of where AI is going. So come up with your best Rich or Ruth Swanson story. Please share those with me. Either put them in the comments, email me. So my email address, it's extremely hard. So make sure you've got pen, paper, smoke signals. Write this down. It's just Troy Ganson, TroyGanson @gmail. And write me about your experiences with Rich and Ruth, if you would. Drop me a line really quick. I'd love to share some of those in an upcoming episode. In addition, please come up with some time that you got kicked in the teeth and got back up on the horse so that we can share it with the young guys. Because Lord knows, through COVID and everything else that they've done, they've already experienced a couple of their own, and they're going to experience some more. But we don't want them knowing that, or we don't want them thinking that life is nothing but getting kicked in the teeth, and that there are some rewards. But we got to work a little hard for them at times, and they already know that going through Rolla and just what a school that is. But let's make sure that they know that there's some rewards at the end of this tunnel. In addition, I've got some great interviews coming up. I've already lined up 2 for in-person interviews, and I'm really excited about those. So look ahead for the upcoming weeks of some in-person and one individual in specifics wanted to do it kind of Joe Rogan style. So we'll see where that takes us. I'm excited to see where it takes me at the same time. And we might do the both of them that way. I don't know. Maybe I'll just grill them for about a half an hour, and we'll see what comes out of it. I can't wait, honestly, for his stories about. I'm forgetting the car. I think it was a 1972. It was a pink Monte Carlo, I think, is what he used to drive. And some of you guys probably know exactly what I'm talking about when I say Monte Carlo, right? So anyway, you guys got some homework to do. I'm sorry I missed last week. It's been kind of a crazy time for me at work, but we'll get more of these coming and look for them to be coming out almost on a weekly basis, guys. That's my intention to keep you all in and keep us connected. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.